is we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we'll go along and introduce everyone individually. And we're going to talk about being ourselves, authentic selves, and trans in the South. And we are actually live right now. Hello, welcome to our second community conversation. My name is Destiny Clark, and this is
I'm Sincerity Banks.
We work with the T-Hill program here at BAO. Today we have a lovely panel that we have comprised. We have trans men, non-binary, trans women of all different spectrums. So first of all, I'm going to introduce one of the first speakers. He works with our Be Right program here at BAO. Jace, you want to introduce yourself with your pronouns?
Yeah. I'm Jace. I work with the Be Right program at BAO. My pronouns are, am I going ahead and talking? Introducing everyone first.
All right, awesome. Emma Kay, would you like to go next and introduce yourself and what you do and your pronouns? Emma Kay, you're muted. There you go.
Here I am. Hi, everyone. Yep, my name is Emma Kay. My pronouns are she, they. I am the director of the Magic City Research Institute, which is the newly launched research arm of BAO, and I get to do what I love all day, every day, which is research around HIV and LGBTQ health. Great to meet you all.
Awesome. Next, we will jump over to Mason and Holly. Mason, go first, my friend.
Hello, my name is Mason.
You're 23.
Oh, yeah, I'm almost 23. This is my mom. Yeah, I don't know what else.
He, him.
Oh, okay, sorry. I use he, him pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And
awesome.
I'm Holly. I am Mason's mom. I use she, her.
Oh, yeah.
And I am a domestic engineer. And if you're not familiar with what a domestic engineer is, I am also known as a stay-at-home wife and mom.
Awesome.
I'm a chef, I'm a therapist, I'm a caregiver, I'm the laundry lady, everything.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
All right, next we are going to go to the lady in the middle, Miss Jasmine. Go for it, Miss Jasmine.
Hi, yes, I'm Jasmine Bonner Herbert. I'm the CEO of Unique Resources, and what Unique Resources offer is giving back to the community as a whole and as a LGBTQ. And it was nice seeing you all.
Awesome. All right, Miss Kari, you're up next. You're on mute, love. There you go.
I'm Kari Cooper. My pronouns are she and hers. I'm a server at Dave & Buster's.
All right. Is that all you want to say?
And a drag king by night.
That worked. All right, so now we're going to talk about being trans in the South and what it means for us to be visible, especially in this time where so many anti-trans bills are being introduced to hurt our youth, but eventually they could come back and hurt us. So Sincerity, do you want to talk about a little bit about what it is like to be trans in the South for you?
I started my transition in 2002, and being trans, I've faced several obstacles when it comes to employment, housing, discrimination. I've been detransitioned before. I've been incarcerated before. So being trans in the South is not a cakewalk. It's nothing that you will see on TV. It's a struggle. You must advocate for yourself. The support systems that we have available now were not available for me back then. So I had to fight my way through the system and the system of oppression. So being trans in the South is not as easy as it seems, but I can say today, sitting here as a 37-year-old Black trans woman, I made it.
let's see, we're not going to talk about ages. I have a problem. I have a problem.
I just love saying my age because the CDC has always said that the lifespan of a trans woman is only 35. So, baby, I'm 2 years old today. You see? So, yeah.
All right. Next, we are going to go to Jace. Jace, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have been out as Jace to a small amount of people at first since I was 18. I'm 30 now. But by the time I was 21, I was out to everyone. It definitely has been interesting trying to find jobs at times. And even as I've gotten older, it's been rough, especially being in the South. You know, there's a lot that could be said in the South. And really, one of the things that's helped me the most is the fact that we have MCAT here. And if it weren't for a lot of their programs, I don't know that I would have made it. And I've been on testosterone almost 2 months now, a little over 2 months. So I'm very excited about that, which that's been able to happen thanks to the Magic City Wellness Center as well. So really, if it weren't for a lot of the programs with BAO, a lot of things wouldn't be possible.
All right, awesome. Next, let's go to Miss Jasmine. Miss Jasmine, tell us a little bit about your story and what it's like to be a trans woman living in the South.
Well, mine is about a little differently. Back when I was coming out is where, before I started transitioning, I was kind of like bullied. I was name called, but as time goes on, I had started to transitioning into Jasmine, where I didn't care about what anyone thought or what anyone said, due to the fact that I have kids and I was married to a female at that time. Once I deleted that part of my life, I came on to be who I am today. So saying that my visibility as a transgender as today, I'm loving it. My dreams that I always wanted was to be married to the same sex. And I'm just loving it. I'm just embracing that I'm able to get out in the community, amongst everyone to give back to the community because of the heart that I have. And thank you all for having me on the panel.
You're welcome. And we appreciate you all for taking the time out your day in order to do this. Today is National Transgender Day of Visibility. We have lost so many trans women and trans people due to self-hate amongst other people. It's not about the ones that were murdered. It's about the people that harmed them and did the murders. Those people suffer from self-hate. Next, we want to call on Emma Kay. Emma Kay.
Hey, everyone. I just want to say it really meant a lot to me that I was invited to this panel. So I identify as non-binary. And although that was something that, I've known myself for a while, I really didn't have the courage to say that really until I moved back to Birmingham, started work at BAO, met my now lovely wife, Sydney. So just a lot of things this past year that has really helped me be more vocal and be more comfortable displaying myself in the way that I truly am. And so that's really all I want to say for now. But just thanks so much for having me.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
All right, let's jump over to Mason. Mason, tell us a little bit about your story and what it's like to be trans in the South.
Yes, help me.
Okay.
Mason, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let's. I probably should say that I'm anxious, kind of nervous, and I will talk some, but okay, Mom, take it away.
Okay.
So I stop embarrassing myself.
So no, Mason, when he first came out, you know, mom intuition was there. I already kind of had an inkling, and there has been times that it's been difficult, whether we have been shunned from different churches or different communities, and it's been very hurtful. However, we are extremely grateful for MCAC and for T-Hill and the Magic City Wellness Center, because they have truly been lifesavers, truly, for Mason. And the programs that they offer has given us a community, and not just for Mason, but for Mom. For me, it's been great to have that support system, to know I'm not alone either. And we are extremely grateful that you invited us to be on this panel, and thank you so very much.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Well, we are glad to have you, and Mason. So it's a big step for you, because I know you don't normally do public speaking. For snaps, so snaps to Mason.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to move on to Miss Kari. Kari, tell us about, so you're a new recent transplant to Birmingham. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm originally from Kentucky. I come from like a kind of conservative family. When I came out as trans, this was back in 2018, end of 2018, early 2019. And I lost family members. I lost really good friends. I'm not really upset about that either, because I got the toxic people out of my life. And then my mom was like, hey, we're moving to Birmingham. And I was like, okay, here we are. I faced a little bit of discrimination here with jobs. I did work in a law firm, and they weren't okay with it. But now I'm happy, serving, making money, living my best life.
All right, awesome. Well, we are so glad to have you here in Birmingham. So now let's talk about some of the barriers that trans people may face in here in the South. I'm going to jump over to the trans men really quick, because I know trans men typically are not elevated. So Jace and Mason, I'm going to put you on the spot for a few minutes. Would you all like to talk about some of the barriers that trans men face here in the South? Who would like to go first?
I guess I can. I know just in general, at first, people are like, well, say you're a butch lesbian if you're a butch lesbian. And it was a real big issue, like Holly mentioned, with churches, which I don't even try and go to churches anymore. I know there are some that are accepting, that's just not my thing. But I've been called everything under the sun you can imagine. And it's also, my dad is scared for my life every time about me having in public because of the things that could happen to me. He's very supportive, and I'm fortunate for that. Mom was not supportive when she was alive. And my brother's also very supportive. Most of the family's not supportive, and they try to base it off of different things. And dating's really hard. And it is just in general if you're trans. Because then you have people that are going to say anything. I've had issues on and off with people basically going, oh, well, you're a trans guy. Since you were assigned female at birth, they don't need those words, but since I was assigned female at birth, that must mean you're more submissive. And that's not the case. Putting in right now, but if they want to.
Okay, sorry. You were cutting in and out kind of bad, but I think it's us. Anyways.
Yes, Mason, you want to talk about some of the barriers you face as a trans man here in the South?
Yes. So I'm sure everyone or most of people know this, but it is a struggle going to the bathroom. Like, wow.
Yes, it is. As a mom,
it's okay.
I hold my breath every time, and I stand outside, and it's a struggle. You know, you walk into the men's restroom, you're looked at. You walk into the women's restroom, we always just try to find a family restroom.
Or family functions.
Yeah, family functions are interesting. Sometimes, you know, like Jace was saying, we have family members that are supportive, and then we have family members that are not. And that's been extremely hurtful. Being dead named, and it's hurtful for me, and my empathy for him, it crumbles at times. And so it's very difficult, you know, going places and, you know, wanting to identify as yourself. I mean, your authentic self, and not be accepted by public or by family. It's extremely hurtful.
Don't get me wrong, I love myself, but it's kind of like an extra barrier now that I have green hair, and then I don't know, people look at me more often than when I just had regular brown hair, which there's nothing wrong with brown hair. Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, Mason, we love your green hair.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move along to Sincerity.
So, Jasmine, I would like to ask you, what barriers and obstacles have you faced in the South as being a Black trans woman of color?
Well, basically, the only problem that I really have, people do not want to recognize if you say your name is this, they want to call your name is that, because they want to, they think and they know you, and they do not want to accept the part that you are transition your life into a female, and accepting that you have changed all the way around. So that's basically that I ever have a problem with. But everything like towards my family, you know, before they passed or whatever, they knew where I was going to be. They accepted me, you know, for us as my family and my kids. They accept me for who I am. I can't be anybody but myself, because if you don't be yourself, it will hurt you in the long run. And then that will cause suicidal thoughts, which we're trying to really get out in the community now, that, you know, we need to love on these kids. So to say, I think that's it.
Okay. And Kari, have you had any stigma or issues or barriers that have came since you've been here?
Since I've been here, I worked at a law firm downtown, and I previously, as soon as I got hired, I told my employer that I was trans and that I'm starting hormones. And he said, and then I asked him, is there opportunities to get hired on? He said, if you stay the way you are. And back then I was still kind of presenting as male, just because I didn't have the clothes, didn't have the hair, and I wasn't comfortable with myself going out downtown as Kari.
Okay. So we're going to move to Emma, and then we're going to come back to the barriers. So Emma, would you like to tell us some of the barriers that you faced as a non-binary person here in the South?
Sure. And, you know, so I'll start just by saying I think there are definite advantages that I have, especially because I, you know, present as pretty female. And before I really, you know, officially came out, I don't think a lot of people knew that I'm non-binary. So I do want to say that, especially surrounded with folks on this panel who have talked about some real serious barriers. But I will say that it's tricky because we live not just in a region of the country, but we live in a country and then even in a world that really, where binaries are really important. And to say that you exist outside of a binary is uncomfortable for a lot of people to hear. And so I just think that I continue to struggle to find my way, you know, in my life in the South and what have you, as my authentic self, and just trying to even work around pronouns. You know, initially, I really wanted to use the they, them pronouns, but I wanted to make, I was actually uncomfortable to ask people to just use those pronouns, especially those who've known me as she, her. And so I decided to give people a choice. And even in that, feel I'm more worried about what people think than what I actually want. And so definite barriers with that. But again, I just want to reiterate that I'm also very cognizant of the privileges that I have.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
So one of the things that we heard while we were talking about the barriers is housing and employment discrimination. So that is something that is very prominent, especially here in the South. It seems like if you're not binary to one or the other, there is a big issue with that. So now let's move on to medical care. Kari, let's talk about your experiences with medical care here in the South and what it's been like since you have started your transition.
Well, I've been here for about a year, and in June I'll be on hormones for about a year. But I went to a OBGYN, and I didn't really do my research. Found out I was her first trans person, her trans patient. And right now I'm only on a 4 milligram dose of estradiol. So nothing's really changing. It's just kind of I know I'm taking it. So I'm hoping, you know, the boobs are going to come in and the hips are going to come. And eventually they will, just in time.
Okay, and that is true. Nobody ever transitions the same, and some transitions are a little bit different. Some happens really fast. Miss Jazz, would you like to talk about your... Y'all, I'm sorry, I call Jasmine Miss Jazz. That's just because we have a personal relationship and I love her. But Jasmine, do you want to talk about your experiences in the medical care as a trans person in the South?
Well, myself, I really didn't have any problem because of the way I carry myself. I do have automatically women features, but I did wanted to start hormone treatment, you know, down the line, I say back in 2014. I just wanted the boobs. And but my doctor, she always was Miss Jasmine, Miss Herbert, Miss Bonner, you know, and I really didn't really have a problem in that field.
Okay, so we have a question before we move on to other people on the panel, and this comes from Marco. I don't know if everybody remembers Marco, but Marco used to be the owner of Silvertron, and we miss Marco very, very much. So the question is, here's a question for all of you. Have you seen positive acceptance from younger generation compared to our parents' generation? So who wants to tackle that question first?
I can.
Go for it.
So, like I said, I work at M Busters, and I get called by older people, parents. It's maybe he, she, or ma'am, sir, something like that, a sissy. But by the kids, it's like ma'am, miss lady. It's just really, it's weird that the kids are different from their parents.
All right. Does anybody else want to go for that question, or do we need to repeat it really quick? Have you seen positive acceptance with the younger generation compared to our parents' generation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Holly, do you want to talk about it?
Yes, the younger generation seems to be more accepting and open-minded and not so box thinking. And they're fully aware, or most are fully aware of that it's okay to be accepting, or they have friends, and even some of those friends have struggled with coming out, and so they understand that. And a lot of times some of the schools, they have the different alliances to help with that, which also, sometimes people just don't know. They're sheltered from knowing that there's all types of people in the world, and it's okay to be accepting. It's actually important to be accepting. And, I think that the younger generation most definitely is. The older generation, I hear what they say, I see what they post, and you get unfollowed pretty quickly. So, yes, I think that the younger generation definitely is.
All right. Does anyone else on the panel want to talk about that subject, or do we need to? Miss Jasmine, do you want to go for it? All right, Miss Jasmine.
Well, okay. My experience is a little story tale. When I came to Birmingham, Alabama, I was living in Bankhead housing, and they used to have stairs or flyer of elevators, and I had an experience with a little child. She sees me on the elevator, and automatically she was like, "That's my auntie. That's my auntie." And I was like, "Yeah, baby, I'm your auntie." But the experience of being around the kids, like Miss Holly and Miss Carly were saying, the kids are more accepted than the adults. And that's all I have to say.
All right. So we're going to move right along. Sincerity has a question for Jace and Mason.
So, Jason, Mason, has there been any issues or anything that have came across during your transition that you would want to tell the younger generation or the up and coming generation? Is there things, how has it been since COVID? Not being able to frequent with your friends, different stuff like that, and interact. Do you think it's brought you to a better place within yourself? Have you found yourself more, or do you feel like you've lost yourself by not being able to be in society?
And we will go with Jace first.
Well, in ways, COVID has definitely affected things because, a year ago we were having T-Hill, and we thought we were going to be back that next week, and then it turned into a year later, and we still have not been able to come back for that. But as far as, I tend to end up hanging around younger 20-somethings trans guys. For some reason, we just end up around each other. And we've talked about a lot of our different experiences. My experiences have helped them a lot. Their experiences have actually helped me, because there's sometimes I just, you don't think about things. Sometimes it's hard to see from another perspective, and you need that. But it definitely, like my roommate is 22, and I've definitely been able to help him out a lot. And he doesn't have really a supportive family or anything. And we went a lot of the last year without seeing each other until he finally moved back in. But for a while before a lot of the online programs started again, it really was starting to feel like I was a little lost, but I also did start going to online counseling sessions, so that did help a lot. It's not the same as in person, but I do love my counselor very much. And I've actually recommended her to a few different people. And I guess Mason and Holly, if you've got anything, that I don't take up too much time.
You're doing great.
Yes.
What was the question?
How is
there it
COVID
is. Okay.
over the last year?
Yeah, so it's been a lot. And I know it's been a lot for everyone. There's been, like, I don't know, how much am I supposed to say?
Well, you know, we definitely miss T Hill.
Yes, okay. T Hill is awesome.
Yes.
I miss it. I wish it, yeah, okay.
We definitely have missed T Hill. Let me share some medical.
Sure.
Okay, so Mason has lots of a pretty lengthy medical history, and it has highly affected Mason to be able to see doctors in person. We had 2 surgeries scheduled for 2020, and neither one have been able to happen. So that's been a struggle. Counseling and therapy is every week online. It's not the same as in person, but thankfully we have access to that, and we love our therapist. And so that's been a great thing. Not being able to see friends, it's been really difficult.
That's stressful.
We've had to, we have to make so many precautions because of the health risk. And so it makes it difficult. We miss our friends, and because community is everything, and 2020 was lacking community. And that's what we thrive on, because we need to be with our people, and you're our people.
Oh, okay. Well, we love you too.
Yes.
Emma, would you like to talk about that subject a little bit? And then we have one question from Facebook Live after your response, Emma.
Sure. So it seems like everything big that's happened in my life in recent years has happened either right prior to COVID-19 starting, or like during the pandemic. So everything of import that's happened to me has been during COVID. That being said, trying to move to a new town, start a new job, come out, get married, all of those things during a pandemic are really tricky. I've definitely felt really isolated at times, you know, other than my wife. There's not been a lot of social support here. And granted, it's really hard to meet new people during a pandemic. So it certainly made things a lot harder for me. I'm trying to find my space and my people and all of that. You know, I'm just grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for BAO and everything. That's been really helpful. But yeah, it's just been a really tough and isolating year for me. So.
All right.
And that's understandable. It has been a rough year, and hopefully it gets better. Like Holly and Mason was saying, T Hill, we miss the events and stuff. Fellowshipping is always good. It's good for the soul. Being able to see one another, hug, things like that. So all the changes that have came, it's been a bit much.
Let's go ahead and get the question from our Facebook Live.
And it's from Flapjack.
It's from Flapjack. Hey, Flapjack. So we see you on the screen, but we can't actually see the Facebook questions. So Flap's question is, what has your experiences in education been like as a trans person? Is there anything faculty, staff at schools can do better to support trans students? Oh, goodness. This is a
good one.
This is a good question. So, Mason, can I throw you on the spot since you and Kari are probably the youngest too?
Sure. Okay. So.
Don't need to school.
I know. So I wasn't really out in school just because I was in I had some learning disabilities. So I was in special ed classes, and then I got bullied a lot. Yeah.
Well, and I saw
you.
At that time we knew, or I think at the time you came out, I'm gay, you know, and it's like, okay, but we knew the ramifications of the bullying had already, you know, started, and we were in a really good public school system in Birmingham, and it ended up being, you know, I just said, that's enough, we're done. And I pulled him from school and we homeschooled, and that was probably the best decision because I was able to see his self-esteem go up instead of feeling defeated every day and upset and sad. We had, you know, your self-esteem went up, but I definitely feel like that was in the 8th or 9th grade.
Yeah.
So that's been a while. So Mason was never in school publicly as trans. Now, of course, we did do some co-ops, and they had some issues with wanting to get the name right. And of course, I tried to nip it in the bud, but that didn't necessarily go over too well. So we just pulled from that. You know, I call it picking our toys up and going somewhere else and finding our tribe. And we've had to do that numerous times. So yeah, it's been difficult, whether it's public or private or homeschooling. It can be extremely difficult, but having a supportive family and network and friends makes life completely different. It really does.
Okay, awesome. Kari, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I wasn't out as trans. I wasn't out as trans openly until I went to college. And college was an experience. It wasn't a good one. I started presenting in college as Kari. I'd wear my natural hair, cardigan, and some black wedges. And one day, I got jumped. It was night, walking back to the dorm from a night class, and it just happened. They felt threatened, I guess. But I really do feel like schools, especially colleges, that have night classes should have some way of protecting students from what happened to me from happening to someone else.
Well, we are so glad that you're here. Emma, so you kind of work at UAB. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you feel like faculty and staff could do to support trans students?
Sure. You know, I actually think there's a lot of good work being done right now. You know, I think, you know, the LGBTQ Alliance for Health Equity is really great at UAB. I think a lot of the diversity trainings and gender and inclusiveness trainings and all of that all faculty and staff have to do every year now are really good steps. I think, you know, so I came here from the University of Michigan, and one thing that Michigan is a little bit ahead of us, and that's okay. We're in the South and we're getting there, but, you know, every single class at Michigan, you know, first day is all about making sure you get everyone's names and pronouns right. You know, you have to make a pronoun card and bring that with you to the first few classes to make sure everyone gets it correct. There's just a really, really big emphasis on like day number 1 of class to make sure that everyone's being regarded in the way that they want to be regarded. And so I think, you know, that little extra step would be really good. I think Kari's point about safety at night is really important, especially thinking about UAB and places that are, you know, in downtown and maybe not so safe at night. I think increased security is a really, really great thought. And I think I definitely agree with that should be done. But overall, I think that things are getting better and they're moving in the right direction. And I think it just continue to push and to do more.
Okay, awesome. So we are getting low on time. So the next question is this is gonna be for a panel. We'll give everybody a few minutes to answer. And by that time, I think we should be able to wrap up so we are respectful of everyone's time. So the question is, what does it mean to you to be a visible trans person in the South? We will start with Miss Jasmine.
Like I said, I'm age 48, and to be visible in the South, it means that, you know, that we still out here, we're still fighting for our rights, we're still fighting for justice to be heard and our voices to be heard. Basically, I'm blessed, so I can't really downsize anything but it'd been nice being on the panel.
Okay, and let's go to Jace.
What it means to me to be a visible person in the South is, like I said, I end up being around those that are younger than me, and it's helped them a lot, helped them feel more comfortable. If I have to be that person that people meet first and they're unsure of because whatever reasons they might have, I'm fine being that. If I have to take whatever hits that come with it, that's fine with me. Because we are in the South, it's not always safe. It's really, I got tired of not being able to live my life like who I was years ago. And if I am going to be able to live my life, then I'm going to do it around my home. I've grown up in Alabama. So it's, like I said, if I have to be that person where everyone's getting whatever reaction they have to out of the way, and maybe they won't act like that about someone else, that's fine with me.
All right. Emma, would you like to go next?
Sure. So I just think, safety in mind, as Jace pointed out, I think it's just really important to demand the respect that we all deserve and, present, here's my name, here's my pronouns, this is who I am. You can accept me or not, but I'm not going to change for you. I think I've learned a lot from some really strong trans people in my life. And it's that demand for respect that I think demanding respect, demanding visibility, demanding respectful visibility. We're all human and we all deserve to be treated how we want to be treated. So that's what I would say.
Okay. So, Kari?
To me, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be trans. I'm always going to be proud. I'm going to be a Black trans woman every day when I wake up, when I go to bed, and no one's going to change it. And I'm going to fight for whoever can't speak for themselves.
All right. And last but not least, Jace and Holly.
Well, Mason.
Well, Mason and Holly. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Jason. I'm looking at Holly. Don't forget.
You're fine. You're fine. What do you think you want to say?
I don't know. I watched videos on how to prepare, but
it's just because you're a little nervous. That's all.
I just don't feel prepared.
I think that it means that we have to continue to fight every day for acceptance. And I think to know that we can walk this path and we don't have to do it alone. We have support and we're grateful for that, but we also need to walk the path for the ones coming up behind us. And sometimes that's difficult. But we have access to great communities and groups, T-Hill, MCAC, Magic City Wellness Center, just everything. And we're grateful. And I think every day it's how we choose to do it and how we choose to live every day. We can either wake up and say, I'm just going to be a victim today, or I can wake up and say, I'm victorious today. I'm going to do this. Not that we don't have days that aren't great, because we absolutely do. But it's all in our mind too. And if you put your hand over your heart and you feel that heartbeat, you have purpose. And when you find your purpose, it drives you to continue to do better and to want better and to fight for those. And that's exactly what we have to do.
All right, thank you. So Sincerity, I'm going to ask you, what does it mean for you to be a Black trans woman in the South?
First, I would like to say to Holly, you're a blessing. Mason, just know that it's a blessing to have your mom and the support. I lost my mom at 21. I had just came out from high school, 2002, transitioned, and then boom, a year later, I lose my mom. So being trans in the South and being visible for me, it took a lot because I still had to continue to live. I had to be a voice. I had to go through things that I never thought that I would go through. And I had to do those things alone. I didn't have a support system. I gained a support system probably in like 2015, 16. I've always been a loner. I'm a Virgo, so I'm kind of standoffish. So the things that I went through, I kept them bottled up. But now as a trans advocate, I'm able to speak my truth and tell my narrative and let people know that being visible in the South is having a voice, not backing down and being resilient. And when I say being resilient, you have to stand on anything that you live by. You can't let anyone try to change that. Continue to be you. Continue to be live and in color. Be real. Be yourself. Smile. Hold your head up. Walk. 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 No one can stop you. No one can. Do not allow anyone to take that from you. We're all human. We deserve the same respect as the next person. I appreciate everyone on this panel. Today is Trans Visibility Day. Be loud. Get on Facebook. Show your this is however you feel today to be visible. If you want to show the beginning stages of your transition, if you want to talk about your narrative, if you just want to scream, do that. Whatever makes you feel good about being alive, being around your other counterparts, being free, and being you. That's what you do.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm getting teared up, y'all. So
yesterday we attended the rally in Montgomery for the youth. And so what being trans in the South means to me is that every one of us on this panel has a different story, but I know every one of us on this panel will continue to fight for those youth that were in Montgomery yesterday, fighting for their rights for trans health care, to be able to live their authentic self and play sports. Trans visibility means fighting to have a small little letter on your ID that clarifies, hey, I am a female or I am a male. So we just have to continue to fight. We have to fight for the younger generation because those are the ones who currently don't have a voice. Those are the ones who may not have the supportive family. Those are the ones who may not have the gumption to come out yet, but we have to just continue to fight for them. So this does conclude our panel discussion today. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being present and being authentic and being honest with us. Look for our next one in a few weeks. We'll have a different panel of folks. Again, we are so grateful that you joined us. Thank you, Sincerity, for being my co-host again.
Absolutely.
Thank you to the panel, and we'll see you guys soon.
See y'all later.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Grateful.
Thank you for having me.